I was faced with a choice which I never should have had.
She was crying like I had never heard a woman cry before in my life.
And I just cried for weeks and weeks. Everything reminded me of a baby.
And I kept trying to get up from the table and look to see what was in that jar.
I was dealing with the loss of my unborn child and I didn't even know it.
I believe that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts women.
Whisper, be silent no more.
Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Cindy Collins, and today I'm with my co-host, Molly White. Welcome, Molly.
Thank you, Cindy. I'm very, very excited to be here. We're going to have a great show.
Real excited to have today's show with Sandra, in your own words, and Pat, who's going to be with us in studio. Some amazing stories.
Amazing stories, and Sandy says her story so well. And it's going to be a story of her trauma, but of healing and restoration and forgiveness through Jesus Christ.
And that's why we're thankful that you're here with us today. We want you to go with us right now to listen to Sandra's story in her own words.
Hi, my name is Sandra. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Starting out as a little girl, every woman consists of innocence and purity. And as hard as it was for me to believe, even myself. However, that innocence was soon lost. Around the age of 14, I began to experiment with sexual relationships. Although it was wrong, I was seeking self-worth in the arms of a man. One morning I woke up with a queasy feeling in my stomach. The next day I was full-blown sick, and the next, and the next. It was undeniable. I was pregnant. Being only 15 years old and living in a home without a mother, I had absolutely no idea what to do. My dad, bless his heart, I suppose he had no idea what to do either, so he gave me money for an abortion. I hopped into my '66 Mercury and drove myself to the local women's facility. In 1974, abortion had only been legal a short while. The baby had simply become a problem, and abortion was the answer to every woman's problem. I admit I was given the opportunity to view a film on the development of a baby. However, everyone in the facility downplayed the fact that I was already raising a child within me. Surrounded by the sterile stainless steel, I recall the fuzzy faces and the cold hands wearing the latest in fashion attire, blue latex gloves. Lying on that table, where probably countless other women had lain before me, those cold hands murdered my baby, and I had given them permission. I drove away as I had come, alone. And although I was by myself, I was no longer myself. Numbness overwhelmed me. I couldn't even force the tears to come. Despair and desperation replaced any hope of a future. At first, there was a sense of relief. The decision had been made. The responsibility was gone. Little did I know that that decision was lurking in my future and would haunt me for the next 32 years. My life began to spiral out of control. The drugs, booze, relationships, everything that I did was at a driven, almost frantic pace. Even work became an obsession. People meant little or nothing at all. And although I loved my living daughter, I never really felt an attachment, that real mother-daughter bond. Recently, I became acquainted with Rhonda Arias in Oil of Joy Ministry. In working with her and letting God work with me, the ties that had me bound began to unravel. The truth of the actions that I had made years ago were realized. Realizing what I had done, my heart, along with my entire belief system, was shattered. Although it's not complete, little by little, my life began to reassemble. The space that once held the dark, empty feelings and memories of abortion and deceit were now replaced with a light as bright and big as love itself. On a recent visit with my daughter, the healing was proven as I shared such an awesome time of love with her and my granddaughter that words can no longer, just cannot express. Now mornings are something that I look forward to and not something I dread. There's just a little more spring in my step and a lot more joy in my heart. Ladies, there may be some of you today in that position thinking of abortion. I would encourage you, not only encourage you, but I would plead with you with everything that is in with me. Please, please think it over and reconsider. There may be others of you, like myself, that say, I've already had an abortion. It's too late. True, we can't change that fact, but we can change the future. Seek help. There are many, many wonderful resources out there. And then, take a stand and join with me as we join a host of other women and cry out against abortion.
You've just listened to Sandra's story in her own words. The pain, the suffering, the trauma of abortion, and the healing that she needed, and she knew where to go. If that sounds like you, and you may need somebody to talk to right now, we want to encourage you to go to the National Helpline for Abortion Recovery at 1-866-482-LIFE. There's someone on the other end of the line that wants to hear your story any time of the day or night. We'll listen to you, pray with you, and direct you to resources for help and hope. I know, Molly, as we have ministered and talked to so many women like Sandra who have been hurt by abortion, there are millions of women in our nation that are feeling that same pain that Sandra felt.
That's right, and we encourage you to call the helpline number because you cannot heal by yourself. And this is something that will never heal on its own or go away. And also, you know, something about her testimony that was very touching to me is that not only did her father pay for her to have an abortion, but she drove herself to the clinic and back. And that is so dangerous. And I'm even shocked that they went through the abortion procedure without someone to drive her home afterwards.
And I know that that's common, as I've talked to many women who have had abortion in our abortions as they've come afterward for help at our Pregnancy Resource Center. And they have gone alone, felt alone, and can't even remember the abortion procedure actually have shut down. As Sandra said, she felt numb afterward. It's very, very common.
Well, you know, Cindy, I have never seen anyone or talked with anyone that's had an abortion that came out of there great and that their life was just a whole lot better off. And it's not. It's so traumatic because we're going against our natural instinct to bring forth life. And it's such a traumatic experience that nothing positive ever comes out of an abortion decision.
It doesn't, and because of that, many times women will suppress or stuff that down, as we have seen even in our own lives for years, sometimes 1, 5, 10, in some cases 30 and 40 years. What would be the steps, Molly, to abortion recovery, or just even somebody who's listening to us right now that's saying that sounds like me?